Hi, this is Trey Passer, and this is my video response to a great fellow YouTuber. He did a top 10 horror killers of all time. His YouTube username, I want to make sure I pronounce this right, because I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce this right. It's MLKKAEFEnterprises, Enterprises, which I'll spell over here so you know what his YouTube username is. Like I say, he's a great fellow YouTuber who has great knowledge, and all this month he's doing all like a top, all horror related videos and stuff. And he's just a really great fellow YouTuber who goes into great explanation about the subjects he's covering, and he's very knowledgeable and very friendly. And he did this top 10 horror killers and top 10 favorite horror killers, and I decided to do a video response because his list was great. And I'll leave a link to his channel down below, and you can see his list for yourself and see what great list that he came up. I'm going to do a top 10, but I'm not going to do it in any particular order. Okay, I'm just going to do it as I wrote them down so I can remember them. Okay, and I'll tell you why I think they are great, great horror killers. Okay, I'm going to start off with somebody everybody knows, of course, Freddy Krueger. Okay, who was, of course, a child molester who was killed by the town, and of course came back in the form of a spirit who invaded kids' dreams. And he had, of course, the signature 3 blades on his hand, the gloved hand with the blades, and he wore, of course, the familiar fedora, hat with the striped sweater. And Freddy, especially the first movie, I absolutely loved the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, and it was just so really scary and just so believable, and there was great atmosphere set up in that movie. And of course, later movies became more. I think the second movie was even still a little bit more dark, but I think starting with the third movie, Freddy started being more, more telling jokes and comebacks and everything else, and killing you with killing you, of course, kids in their dreams, but doing it with a little more comedic flair. But especially that first movie. That first movie really, really, it was scary, and he was just a great horror killer. Okay, so that's Freddy Krueger. That's one. Okay, the next one is going to be something that some YouTubers may not know, because this thing I think originally came out in the 70s. This was a movie called Trilogy of Terror, starring Karen Black. It was like an anthology series written by Dan Curtis, who created, of course, Dark Shadows, a TV show, and other various TV shows. I think even The Night Stalker, he created that also. But anyway, the Trilogy of Terror was like 3 different tales, starring Karen Black, playing these various different roles. But there was one particular part, and I think the very last one, where Karen Allen, she had bought this Zunu voodoo doll that was like a gift to her boyfriend, and all of a sudden, I forgot what made it come alive, but it actually came to life. It's like this little doll. I'll show you a picture. Like I said, when I'm talking about this, you'll see a picture of it, and it was just the scariest little thing. I remember seeing this when I was a little kid. I was maybe about 10 or so, 11 or whatever I was, and I remember that little doll that had the sharp teeth and the knife, and it chased her around the apartment. It kept making that noise like ah! It just freaked me completely out. I think I even had nightmares about that little voodoo doll. And the ending of it, for those who've seen it, will know what I'm talking about. How it ends. That episode, it was just really scary, and that little Zunu, I guess they call it Zuni voodoo doll, was absolutely one of the most crazy horror icons I think that anybody's ever seen. Okay, and I know people that have seen that will know what I'm talking about. Okay, like I said, I'll leave a picture, and you'll know what I'm talking about if you've seen it. And if you haven't seen it, you definitely should rent it, because it is scary. That one, like I said, her being terrorized by this little miniature voodoo doll that was chasing her around, stabbing her, and making that incredible noise. That was just frightening. Okay, now the next killer, horror killer, would be Candyman. I'm going to go with Candyman because Candyman was like an urban legend. And in the very first movie, I love the way they played it. Virginia Madsen was in it, and of course Tony Todd as Candyman, who I believe they said he was like painter back in the late 1800s, I think, like a painter who got hired, I think, by I don't know if it was the father or the husband of this guy back in the South. He got hired by to paint a portrait of his wife, and of course he fell in love with her and had an affair with her. And of course, when they found out about it, of course they chased him and they cut his hand off and they placed it with a hook. They cut him open and stuffed him with bees, and just he died. And then there was this legend that if you looked in the mirror and said the name Candyman twice, he would appear, of course, and kill you. And this first movie, I remember that first movie was just so scary because Virginia Madsen, I think she was playing like a reporter, if I'm right about that. I don't know if it was a teacher or a reporter. I forget which one. And I guess the Greens, I forgot the project. There was a project I think in Chicago that they closed down, but there was all these rumors about this killer in the project, and she went to investigate it. And of course, that's when she encounters the Candyman, and he just basically terrorizes you throughout the rest of the movie. And Tony Todd, with his voice and his great acting ability, and just he was frightening. And to this day, I will not look in the mirror and say Candyman 5 times, okay? Because he was legitimately scary. And that, I mean, and they made 2 other sequels to it, and I think the second one was okay. Third one I wasn't crazy about, but you know, Tony Todd is just a great actor. So Candyman, definitely a top 10 horror killer. Okay, let me just mark them off so I don't repeat them. Okay, Trilogy and Candyman. Okay, now this other person would be a famous literary character, would be Dracula, but as played by Christopher Lee. Now, you know, Bela Lugosi was probably the most famous person for playing Dracula, and he did a great job. He was, of course, he had this great presence and stuff, and that great voice and stuff. But the thing about Christopher Lee, his Dracula, that really freaked me out and scared me was he was tall and lanky, and he had those teeth. And the Hammer films, they weren't afraid to show blood. I don't think you saw blood in any of the Bela Lugosi's portrayal of Dracula. But with Christopher Lee, in Hammer films, they definitely showed you blood. And Christopher Lee was just a great imposing figure. And those Hammer horror movies were just intense. And Christopher Lee just embodied Dracula. I mean, he played it. I forgot how many movies. I have a bunch of them on VHS, and I would have to get that Hammer horror collection. Hopefully, they'll do one day. They'll do it on Blu-ray or something. But Christopher Lee as Dracula was so frightening and imposing and intimidating, and he was just so evil as Dracula. I always used to just cheer when they finally get him in the end of the movie and stuff, just because he was just so evil. They played that part so well. Okay, so Christopher Lee, definitely top 10 horror villain. Okay, now the next person on my list is Michael Myers. Of course, everybody knows the story of The Shape. Of course, Michael Myers. I'm back. I'm sorry, I had to cut off my voice. Went for a minute. Yeah, Michael Myers, as I was saying, the way John Carpenter directed this movie and the way it was written, it was just absolutely perfect. And this character, Michael Myers, was just a fantastic creation. Like I said, a little boy who kills his sister just out of the blue, and from that point on, he gets put into a mental institution, of course, and he, and I believe the quote from Dr. Loomis is he spent 8 years trying to reach young Michael Myers, and then he spent the last 7 years trying to keep him in. And he said he didn't see anything behind his eyes, that he just, no good or evil, just pure evil. And he thought what he saw, nothing but the devil. I think the exact quote that played by the great, Donald Pleasance was, I'm trying to give you the exact quote. I met him, yeah, exactly, 15 years ago. I was told that there was nothing left, no reason, no conscience, no understanding, even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 years trying to keep him locked up, because I realized that living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simple evil. Okay, of course, that was just a great quote, and especially the first movie and the second movie to an extent. Just Michael Myers was just this, this silent killer and expressionless killer, and frightening because because it happened like a small town America, of course, and during Halloween, of course, and that's made it even more frightening. Okay, so he could blend in with everybody else that was going out there trick-or-treating and stuff. So Michael Myers, definitely another top 10 horror villain. Now, the next person on my list is a thing. Growing up, I went every movie that came out. I think starting with the probably with the third one, I kept going to see. I'm talking about, of course, Jason Voorhees, the Friday 13th movies. Of course, the first movie started off with his mother, getting revenge for her son Jason drowning, of course, and then the second movie, of course, starts Jason coming back, killing, doing the killing. And Jason, what more can you say about Jason Voorhees? He was just a killing machine, and he acquired the mask, I believe, in the third movie, and he got killed in the fourth movie, the final chapter, of course, which wasn't the final chapter, and then he came back, took a break in part 5, and then, of course, in 6 he came back as zombified Jason, and there's that great opening scene in part 6, where he basically, I think it's like an ode to Frankenstein, where he gets, the metal poles stuck in him, and he gets struck by lightning, and he gets reanimated, like I said, just like Frankenstein. And zombified Jason was even more of a badass, okay? And just Jason Voorhees, like I said, I loved his movies. I used to go see them every time a Friday the 13th movie would come out, and he was just, like I said, a killing machine. He would kill, no remorse. There's no pleading with him. There's no negotiation with Jason. He sees you and he kills you, and that's it. Okay? Okay, so Jason Voorhees. Now, the next person on my list is someone that maybe people don't consider. I consider him a horror thing. I would go with the Headless Horseman in the Sleepy Hollow movie by Tim Burton. I remember seeing that the first, again, like I said, Tim Burton's a great master of setting the mood for a movie, and this movie was just perfectly shot. And the Headless Horseman was going around, of course, beheading people, and it's played by Christopher Walken. He was just an imposing figure, and just the look of fright on the people in the movie was just perfect. And I love the way that he shot it, and the horseman with the black horse and the big sword, and he was just so intimidating, and just a great horror villain. Okay, and I love that movie. Sleepy Hollow, just pitch perfect to me, with great performances by Johnny Depp, of course, and Christopher Walken was just menacing. Of course, like I said, he spent most of the movie without a head until the last few minutes of it, but just a great horror villain. Okay, I would say the Headless Horseman. Okay, now I have let's see, on my list I have two more. Okay, I'm gonna go with the next person. I'm gonna go with is Pinhead from the Hellraiser movies. Okay, Pinhead, of course, was a Cenobite, and of course, if you know from the first movie, if you I forgot what they call the cube that would summon them, the Cenobites, and they were demons from hell. And I remember the first time I saw the first Hellraiser movie with those chains just and this the basic story about a guy that was cheating with his brother's wife, of course, and he summoned the demons, and of course the daughter was trying to fight back and try to save her family. And Doug Bradley was just great as Pinhead. The voice, we have such sights to show you, just everything. I love Clive Barker. That was just the perfect creation. Like I said, the mind of Clive Barker must be insane, because these creatures are just, and especially in the first 3 movies. I love the first 3 movies. The ones after that, not so much, but the first three movies are just absolutely just insane and crazy. And like I said, the Cenobites were, oh my god! I think in part three is the part where he goes into the church, Pinhead, and he does that little thing like that and makes the church explode. And oh, he was, oh my god! And I think the third part is when he actually recruited some more new Cenobites, and Doug Bradley just played that part. And what a part! He was born to play that part of the Cenobites, you know, the Pinhead, and you know, just one of the great horror villains of all time. Just frightening. Okay, now last but not least in my list, top 10 list. Actually, I know. Wait, this is number 9. Excuse me. Okay, I'm gonna go with something that was in Creepshow. I'm gonna go with the monster that was in a box. Okay, I guess there was, you know, and Creepshow was an anthology of horror stories, and of course there was one story in that particular that frightened the crap out of me. It was called The Crate, and basically it was about I think a professor that he had this discovery from Africa, I think it was, and they had it in a crate. Okay, and there was this, you know, there was these two pals, played by Hal Holbrook and Fritz Weaver, right? And Hal Holbrook was married to Adrienne Barbeau, who was a real bitch, who always constantly bitched him out and everything else. And he was just trying to figure out ways to kill her. And of course, when he discovered that this creature in this box, this crate, was actually a monster in there, just a horrific looking creature. I mean, a creature that looked very frightening, that had these really sharp teeth and looked like a demon almost. And oh my god, it was so scary. I just, that story, and they showed it killing a couple of people, and oh my god, it was so frightening, you know, and just insane. And that was one of the things that absolutely freaked me out about and Creepshow was just a great anthology anyway, period. But that creature that was in that box, in the crate, was just horrific, because all you saw, I think, in the first beginnings of it was just the creepy eyes, the way they shot that with just the creepy, evil eyes. And just, oh my god, it was just creepy beyond creepy. Okay, and so that's my number 9, I guess, or 9th pick. And now my last but not least, of course, is a movie called It, okay, by Stephen King. It was based on the novel by Stephen King called It, okay, and which was made into like a TV movie. And the person, of course, in the story, of course, was a clown called Pennywise, played by the great Tim Curry. Of course, this was a clown that was it was actually a being that took the form of a clown, okay, to basically kill, murder kids, and it was just horrific. Tim Curry, was just the makeup they put on him, and the fact that it was a clown, and just was the book is great, and I love the TV movie. It was just great. Like I said, it started off with the kids, it's little kids, this group of kids called the Losers that were being, you know, bullied for various reasons. They come together to form this group, and they managed to dispatch Pennywise, or the clown, or the entity, when they were little, and then when they grow up, of course, it comes back, and they have to gather back together again to get rid of him again. But Pennywise was just a frightening horror villain. Just, I remember that, you know, the thing when he killed the one little kid, and he said, "Hello, Georgie! Hello, Georgie!" Just, I remember that just freaking me out. And then they showed him, you know, the clown makeup, and then he saw his eyes just go all right, and then he had the sharp teeth. And oh, that was beyond scary, freaky to me. Pennywise, I have it on DVD, and just, I don't think I've watched it because I mean, that movie really scared me. And that was because, I don't know, it was just something about how, like I said, Stephen King knows how to tap into kids' hidden fears and stuff, and that's just a freaky movie. And like I said, Pennywise was a freaky villain. Okay, so that's my top 10 list. Let me know if you agree with my list or not, if you've seen the movies that I've talked about, or the villains more specifically that I've talked about. And feel free to leave your comments down below. And like I said, I'll leave a link to Michael's channel. Like I said, MLKKAEFenterprises. I'll leave a link to his channel. Check him out. Like I said, he does great. I think all this month he's doing horror-related videos. Okay, definitely check out his channel. Okay, and I'll leave a link to his channel down below. And this is Trade Pastor saying so long and take care.